So Jerry, I'll let you kick this one off.
Sure. So when Dan and I are beginning to engage with new clients, there's a lot of things that come up pretty consistently. One of the things that we get asked nearly 100% of the time when we engage is, Jerry, Dan, how quickly can I get my rep through training? How fast can we get this done? And that's a great question. Unfortunately, it's 100% the wrong question. When we look at going through training as quickly as possible, kind of learning through a fire hose by getting as much in front of them as we can, we virtually guarantee no retention. We create a situation where that rep simply can't absorb the information. In addition to that, we see a lot of managers don't take the time to fully plan for the hire. So that rep comes in, Dan, welcome to our company. I'd like you to shadow Tim for 2 weeks. In week 3, I'd like you to have you on the phone. And in week 4, when Dan doesn't make it, it's his fault because he was a bad salesperson. We see that very consistently. So what I would encourage you to do is to shift focus from how quickly can we get through the training to how quickly can we make that rep profitable and able to work. And that is what we're going to talk about in later slides. Some other things that we see are a lack of commitment by the manager. So that manager engages with somebody like us or another firm to do training, but they don't go through the training themselves. So they're not able to show the right behaviors, to model the things that reps should be doing. On top of that, because this is happening, they invest in training for that rep. The rep goes through the training 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day initially, whatever that time is, and they go on the floor, and what do you think they see? It's not what they were trained on. And because of that, which do you think they follow? What they were told or what they see? Exactly. And so what happens is that investment never manifests itself. Additionally, when we look at the training that they go through, it tends to be very product focused. So they go through their Bullhorn training. They go through, the details of the services that their company sells. And it's very, very focused on product. And yet, what is it you think that most owners ask of them? How can you sell more consultatively? And yet the training they go through has nothing to do with that. So these are some common things that we see that impact the ability for people to bring folks on and capture that razor-thin ROI that Dan mentioned.
Yeah, and just a couple of other quick tidbits to jump on. So, just a real quick story. Not too long ago, I was out working with a client. And so one of the ways that we engage clients is we start off with doing what we call rep rides. So we literally ride with reps out in the field. We sit with them while they make sales calls so that we can understand how they're currently selling, so we can figure out what gaps are missing in the training and onboarding program. And so when we talk about information through a fire hose, shadow training, and figuring it out, in this particular case, and this is not unique to this company, we see this pretty regularly. I was sitting with one of the reps. He'd been with the company 18 months. I asked him how many people he had out on billing. 4 people in 18 months. And I kind of scratched my head thinking, well, gee, how could that be? So I asked him, so tell me, what was the training program that you went through? Well, I did some shadow training with our top performer. Unfortunately, this is a young guy. He doesn't know the questions to ask his top performer. He doesn't know what to be looking for when he's shadowing a top performer. And of course, he's not going to remember all those things when it comes time to getting on the phone. Not to mention, when we talk about shadow training is actually the worst way you could possibly train your folks, because it gives your salespeople and your recruiters a very limited view into the overall process and how you want them to sell or to recruit. Take it a step further, we get down to the 80-20 rule. The reason why that happens and why there's so many companies, so many staffing companies that fail to get above 10 or 20 million in revenue is you have 5 or 10 sales reps selling 5 or 10 different ways. And because you're not mapping it out and you're giving them a limited view, and we're going to talk more about that. So really, really, really important. And I think just one last quick point. There's a lot of key points we want to make today, but one of them is that I've absolutely learned, if you want your training to be successful and to stick, leadership from the top down has to be involved. They need to understand the methodology that you're teaching, because if they don't, to Jerry's point, people do what people see. If your leaders can't reward and encourage positive behavior, then it just won't stick. So there has to be a commitment there.